The horrific violence in Egypt spiraling out of control today. Muslim Brotherhood protesters storming a government building in Cairo. More than 500 people are dead now, including 3 journalists. President Obama earlier today calling off planned joint U.S.-Egyptian military exercises. But would there be any kind of immediate impact if America pulled the plug on the money we are giving in aid? I want to bring in Middle East expert Lisa Daftari and former State Department official Christian Whiton. He also wrote the upcoming book, Smart Power Between Diplomacy and War. Welcome to both of you. Lisa, to the best of your knowledge, what is the latest in Egypt right now?
It's basically a bloodbath. It's violence. It's chaotic. It's exactly what the interim government was expecting, and that's why they had the hesitation to go into these sit-in camps that the Muslim Brotherhood pro-Morsi supporters have been camping out at for over a month now. They won't go down without a fight. They're not going to go down easily, and we don't know when the end of this will be.
Christian, do you agree it's just turned into, if you will, a vicious cycle in Egypt?
Well, yeah, and I think it's important to realize who the culprit is here, which is, of course, the Muslim Brotherhood. It's not the Egyptian army, and I think the Obama administration has made a terrible mistake, another in a litany of mistakes since Arab Spring began, in signaling some distance between Washington and the Egyptian military. That military, I think, is the one flywheel, supported, incidentally, by the Egyptian people, that is preventing Islamism from taking root permanently in Egypt. So I think we should be supporting it, not distancing ourselves from it.
And Lisa, you're shaking your head in the president's comments this morning. A lot of people raised eyebrows as he mentioned the Muslim Brotherhood and almost, I don't want to go so far as to say giving it credit, but acknowledging it. Well, yeah, not drawing a line in the sand as to which side.
Absolutely. He almost equated the two sides and called it a color war of sorts, right? So we have two sides, both being violent, as he said, and both sides need to stop the violence. But, exactly as Christian was saying, this is something that needs to be, on behalf of the Obama administration, very clearly outlined if there's to be any hope for the U.S. to have any leverage or any say in the future of how Egypt will design its government.
So, Christian, the president today did say that he would cancel U.S. military exercises there. Is that a big deal, or is it just for show? Clearly no mention of the U.S. aid going into the region or what to do about it in the future.
I gather that it is a big deal because Egyptians are noticing, and once again, they're seeing the U.S. government on the wrong side of history and on the wrong side of what they want. Obama, it was sort of open mic night when the Mubarak regime, the strongman who preceded all of this turbulence, started to wobble. Biden was out saying one thing, Hillary was saying another. None of it really made a lot of sense. Well, fast forward now, and the Obama administration is sort of babbling again, and when it does say something, it's on the wrong side. It's on the side of the Islamists. It's on the side of the people who want to turn Egypt basically into a Sunni version of the Iranian regime. That would be tremendously hostile to the United States and take Egypt back to a situation where it's on the brink of war with Israel. So, I think this is just the wrong signal to send.
I want to talk about the economy of Egypt because it's non-existent, Lisa, right? Unemployment is above 20%. These people are starving. You have Western-based businesses also pulling out. You have Shell closing operations, GM closing a plant there. What beyond, I know that there's tremendous aid pouring in still, but is getting the economy on more solid footing an answer here?
That was actually the root of the problem. People don't start revolutions because of democracy. They started obviously because of poverty. And the country has 85 million people that cannot be sustained. There aren't any jobs. The people are overeducated, can't find jobs. The poor people are not being fed. That's, the people who are out on the streets, they fall into two main groups. They're the terrorists, the actual Muslim Brotherhood members who are trained and media savvy and know exactly how to run this operation. And the second type is the lower socioeconomic brackets who are being fed by the Muslim Brotherhood. And we find that in so many different countries where these groups are going in and they're nesting because they're able to open soup kitchens and answer to the needs of these people. So the economy, whatever this interim government happens, obviously nobody wants to deal with the military government, but that's the solution that's being put in place right now. But the first solution will be to get the economy back up, get tourism back up, and to help the Egyptian people move forward.
I mean, Christian, I'm concerned, even though oil prices haven't reacted to the situation, you have to keep a close eye on the Suez Canal, and who knows what happens down the road. And if there, I guess another point too is the U.S. markets were down over 200 points. Some might point to the geopolitical threat coming out of Egypt as well. Do you see this as having a ripple effect?
Well, it could. Egypt is thought of as a political bellwether. Traditionally, it's been a political and cultural bellwether for other parts of the Middle East. It's the most populous Arab majority country, more than 80 million people, a relatively small economy, just $500 billion. So in perspective, you're talking about a population that's a quarter of the United States, but an economy that's only about 1/30th the size of the U.S. You know, I think with our foreign assistance, the military assistance is very important to keep the Egyptian military functioning, really. The economic assistance we provide, I think, should be reconfigured so it discourages corruption. Corruption, incidentally, is one thing that drives a lot of people toward Islamism because they think that, you know, frankly, in some instances, Sharia might be better than the intense corruption they have now. I think that's a false thing to pursue, but we should be thinking more in those terms with our aid.
Well, it's such an important discussion. Unfortunately, we don't have more time. The civil war in Syria, this unrest now in Egypt, it's so troubling. But we certainly appreciate both of your analyses this evening. Thank you to both of you.